Welcome to Uebele Art. I'm Jana Uebele and I make weekly videos for creative people to inspire and share everything there is to love about art. This week I'm really excited for the opportunity to try out and review these ParKoo erasable gel pens. I use gel pens all the time in my planner, and I bet you do too. So having the option of an erasable pen is really exciting and something I've never tried before on my own. I'm really grateful for ParKoo for sending me these pens for free so that I can give an honest review for you. My opinions are all my own, and I'm not being sponsored for this video. So let's jump right in and give them a try. So let's open these up and take a look at them. And as you can see here, these are the clickable pens. I always want to click from the top, but this is where the eraser is. So to click the pen on, you use the handle there. You can see, I hope you can see this, but the pen nib has some coating on it, and so you kind of have to pull that off to use it, and then you can click it to close. These have lids on the top, and then the erasable unit is on the bottom. So let's get some paper and try these out. Now, one of the main complaints in the reviews when I looked on Amazon was that the ink runs out if you use it pretty heavily in a short amount of time. And from what I can tell, the other erasable gel pens on the market are a lot more expensive than these, and you need to keep that in mind. You can order refills for these pens on Amazon as well, so that's the good news. And I will link below in the description the links to the pens as well as the refills. So let's go ahead and get started on this test. And let's look at some of the colors. Well, it does flow really nicely. The colors look really nice. Now the green, it's more of a mint green than a truer kind of evergreen green. But I don't mind that. I do wish companies would pay closer attention to the end result of the color when they find the plastics, but I don't know how much control they can actually have over that. See how the colors match up on the two sets. Oh, interesting. It's darker on the lidded sets here. Well, the colors are definitely the same, but for whatever reason, the pens with the lids on them are just a touch brighter than the clickables. And of course, there are only 6 colors on the lidded. At the 7th, you get an extra blue. All right, let's try the erasers. Now, the erasers on these are really just a type of plastic because the ink here erases with heat. And so it is the friction on the plastic end that erases the line. I don't know if you can tell, but there is some ghost lines remaining on my paper. What if I erase harder and faster? Definitely, if I add more pressure and I go a little bit faster, it doesn't allow as much ghosting afterwards, but there is definitely still there, and I am now just tearing up. This is multimedia paper, and it is starting to tear up the paper just a little bit. But I am definitely surprised at how much residue is left over. But it's not too bad. I can work with it, especially if you're just using it to clean up lines as you're drawing. It's not that big of a deal. So let's get started on a drawing. Now I'm going to be using the Sktchy app, which I love and have been looking forward to playing with for a long time. I know a lot of artists use Pinterest and Google image search for references for their artwork. And while there's some leeway with that if your work is transformative and can't be recognized as same as the original piece, I think it's a whole lot better to use a source that gives you the inherent and implicit permission to recreate the image. And it used to be very difficult to find sources like that, but thankfully now we have the Sktchy app where people upload their own photos and grant you full permission to recreate the image and to sell it. You retain full rights to your work to use however you wish, and they retain rights to their photos. So the app is fantastic. I find it really intuitive to use, and it's fun to follow other artists to see how they interpret photographs. And you can scroll through the drawings, and then if you shift the art piece to the right, you can see oftentimes the original photo that was used underneath. They have a tab for the artists that you follow. They have a tab for the Sktchy pics of the day, where the staff goes through and selects the art images that they like the best for that time period. And then there's a tab for inspiration. And this is where people have uploaded their own images. So you can click to save a photograph, which then gets put in a folder on your profile so that you can refer back later when you're looking for sources and subjects to draw. So in order to keep this invaluable artist resource free, they now have a premiere section that allows you to learn from many of the community's top artists with classes. And I am a big proponent for online and in-person art classes. I think they're fantastic. I think learning new skills is great. And the benefit for me of these online classes is they tend to be short. They're great for inspiration, for breaking through creative blocks, and broadening your skill base, which is, as an artist, everything I've always wanted. So I love the Sktchy app. And if you don't already have it, I highly recommend that you get it. It's a great way to start a daily art practice. So one of the really cool things about these pens is that they aren't erasable in the traditional sense. Instead, this plastic eraser nib at the bottom, what it does is it creates friction, which heats up the paper to allow the ink to disappear. If we just add heat, like this heat gun, the ink disappears. Let's add an ice pack. Let's see what we've got here. And it's all back. So no more erase lines. And the colors look great. In fact, now that they've gotten cold, both pens from both sets, the retractable and the pen tops, look the same. One was lighter to begin with, and one was darker. And I think they look about the same now. So that's a tip. If you get one over the other, then just put it in the freezer for a little while. Now, one of the things I do want to say, with some of the complaints of the ink drying out and some people having trouble getting the ink to flow after a couple of uses, I do think of the two sets, I prefer the toppers because right here, there is a thing that will, a little gasket that will help protect the nib or the ball here, so that I think the ink will stay more protected and will be less prone to drying out or to clogging the opening, so that it doesn't write well. So if I were to buy these myself, I would probably get the lidded pen as opposed to the retractable pen, just to protect the longevity. That said, you do lose one color if you do that. You lose this color. Although, I don't know if it's going to be... If I had to choose between longevity or a color, I would probably go with longevity. Or buy both sets, and then you have the full range. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this as educational as I did. And I will have the link below in the description if you want to try out these pens for yourself. If you do, please leave me a comment here and let me know what you think. Until next week, try something you've never done before. Experiment and play a little. There's so much joy to be found in art. Go find yours.